Hmm. Welcome to day 2 of Mastering the Art of Living. I'll wait a few minutes or a few seconds for some more people to join in before we get started. Sorry, ik probeerde even iemand te helpen die er steeds niet in komt. Sorry, I will do this in English. I was just helping someone who couldn't. Was not able to join us every time today and yesterday. For those watching, it will be really helpful to just subscribe to this channel, and you can go straight to this channel and then click probably on the live video that's on. That's probably easier than the link through Facebook. And a good internet connection helps as well, because you need quite some data, I think, to load. Okay, welcome to day 2. I would love to share what happened with me yesterday and this morning. So it is a beautiful reflection and a proof, or a great example is a better word, of how really awareness works, and how you can become aware of yourself in every single second of your life. So yesterday and the days before yesterday, I was really excited about getting started with this program. And there weren't any nervousness noticing. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't really thinking about what I was going to share. I was just completely open all the time and just excited to get started. And then 2-3 hours before I had the live session, so late afternoon, I suddenly thought, like, I've never done something on video before. So let's at least make an introduction video so I know how it works to look at myself and say something. So I did and posted that. Felt quite uncomfortable, but I thought, like, okay, well, it's a start. And then my mind took over, and I thought, like, oh my God, people are going to watch this and they expect something of me. And I got into my old pattern of, like, okay, I need to prepare something because they expect me to come with content or valuable content. And so I made this overview I shared with you yesterday, and it didn't really feel good, but I thought, like, okay, it will help me through the session, because I have no idea if I can fulfill talking with you and sharing with you this first time for 35 minutes. So at least I have something to talk about. And then the session started, and in my introduction, I somewhere mentioned this, that I was going to share an overview with you. And the minute I said it, I was like, oh my God, this is not going to help. I don't want to share this overview right now. But my mind said again, like, well, you already said it, so you have to do it. So I did. And as you all have seen, I felt quite uncomfortable with this board next to me. I didn't really know how to bring it across. The words seemed completely not in the right place at that moment. It's not that it's wrong what is on the board or on the overview, but it just didn't make sense for me at that time to share it like that. And so anyway, the session went on, and honestly, I haven't watched the replay yet. And after the session, I was completely drained. And at the same time, and one of you mentioned in the chat, thanks for that, I had a few moments where I really just dived in and was completely in alignment with myself, pure presence. And I felt like, oh, this is amazing. From this place, I want to share. But it was very challenging to get my mind quiet and the mind telling me that I had to perform with something. So after the session, I went to bed and I felt quite okay. I didn't feel guilty of like I've made a mistake, or I didn't feel like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that, but more like, oh my God, this is really an old pattern. So in the morning when I woke up, when I had a really good night of sleep, I just suddenly realized and saw it like, oh my God, this really is my old pattern. Like, I need to prepare something, so I'm sure I'm right, I can deliver something. And if it would have been my old pattern and I would have continued, then today you would have seen a different overview, which would have been more clear, which I could have probably presented brilliantly because I would have prepared it. And but this is not what this is about, because going back to my old patterns is not what I'm here to share. Well, at least it's not what I'm here for, and it's not how I want to share things with you, because when this sense of insecurity or the stress or the nervousness comes up, I get out of my own space, my own alignment, my own presence, and that's actually where most of the time my life comes from. And that's actually what I want to share with you, because that's what made life so beautiful for me. So today I haven't prepared anything. I only know, and that's because it just keeps coming back today, that I really, really feel excited about talking to you about the heart and connecting you, or make the first steps, if you're not familiar with that, with connecting you to your heart, or at least sensing the area in that area in your body. And so that's what we're going to do today, or that's what I'm going to share with you today. And just one more remark about what I just shared about my experience yesterday and this morning, is that just analyzing for yourself, if you end up in whatever situation it is, but you notice like something feels uncomfortable, and I'm still noticing that I'm doing it, even those little steps, that's what really becoming aware of yourself and raising your consciousness. Because I became so aware of what really was happening, I could change it so quickly in something different today. And that's really what this is about. I mean, just being self-reflective every day, again and again and again, every minute of your day. And it sounds like, can you live then? Yes, you can. I mean, obviously it doesn't happen every single second, but becoming aware of it does happen every single second. And even though I do get triggered and I do get out of my alignment, I'm still, while it's happening, aware of it. And I can still notice like, oh my God, I'm dropping down. And that's okay for now, because I have no way getting out here, but I can see it happening. I can feel it happening. And it just, the transformation or getting out of it just over time goes quicker as you get more used to it and more aware of it. So that's about yesterday. And now we're going to dive a little deeper within. That's actually this deep inhalation is actually the first start to connection. And before we connect within, I just want to share briefly why the heart is so important in this transformation of self-realization. And I've noticed over the years, following many retreats and reading about many books, a lot of teachers talk just when they start a meditation, just go within. And I was looking like, oh my God, where do I go? What do they actually mean? And I never dared to ask the question, but I got like, oh, everybody, no one asks it. So apparently it's very clear for everyone. But I could never really find an answer. And I did do the practice, obviously, and I just searched within, like, okay, well, I'm just going to search within my body and see if I can sense something. And that's actually what I just amplified over the years, just becoming more sensitive to sensing within. And I still don't have the confirmation if that's what everybody's doing, but I do get the confirmation from others that they'll kind of describe it in the same way. So it's kind of, that's where it's happening, but everybody uses apparently a different approach. So again, what I'm sharing here might not be the only way. And if you have another practice for meditation or going into silence within or sensing within, use that, but also explore perhaps this one. And perhaps it helps you. So, like I said, you can close your eyes if you like. I'm going to keep them open for now. It helps to just take a deep breath. And when you take this deep breath, you sense within. With sensing within, just go to the area of your chest on the inside, where your heart is. Somewhere around that area. It doesn't have to be exactly at the spot of your heart. It can be in the middle. Take your whole chest. Even the area around your solar plexus, which is a little bit lower than the heart. Just under your ribs. And just sense if you can sense anything. Just be curious. And if the mind comes up with, is this what it is? Then just don't answer. Just go back to sensing. And if you feel like, oh, I'm getting tensed, like there's contraction in my body, as soon as I dive in, that often happens when you don't have much experience with this, and just take a deep breath. Sit a little bit more conscious on your chair, or perhaps you're lying on the floor. I hope you're not driving, then this is not such an easy exercise. But just sense slowly, gently within. And the mind will come up with questions, or thoughts like, I don't like this, or this feels uncomfortable, or I've tried it so many times before, it's not working for me. Or is this it? And then you're out of it. As soon as you think, is this it? And you get into your mind really like want to answer that question. Notice that you're then out of your body. You're back into your mind. And this little exercise, it doesn't have to take longer than what we just did. You can do it for like 10, 12 times a day. And it's necessary to do it 10, 12 times a day at least in the beginning, or even more, because it's something you need to develop again, your senses. Which is actually weird, because we can sense our body, we can sense pain, right? Very obviously, we can sense nervousness. We can sense butterflies in our belly when we fall in love or excited about something. We can sense discomfort in our body when we feel that something is off, but we don't really know what it is. We can sense contraction in our body. And still, a lot of people say, I cannot sense anything. But it's the same. The only difference is that when you have pain, you're actively drawn to feeling it. And now you actively are asked to just sense without knowing what you're going to sense. And I cannot make a real description of what it feels like, other than it feels to me like just a vibrating field of energy. That's, I think, the closest I can get. It's just like it's really vibrating in my body. And going to my heart space in my heart and amplifying this and make it stronger and stronger is, to me, the same as being in presence. And this connection is what I talked yesterday about. This is what I experience almost all the time, even when I'm now talking to you or talking to another person. It's like always keeping one eye inside and one eye to the outside. Or one focus inside and focus to the outside by just living, acting, behaving, laughing, crying. But this feeling of presence within, so this feeling, this sense, what I just described of this presence, that's always somewhere at the background for me. And that's what makes me feel always this sense of peace, like this sense of, let's almost say security, like this is all good. This is always there. And people even say that's something that never leaves. It's there before you're born and it's there after you're born. That's something that cannot die and cannot be born. It's just there. We kind of embrace it with our body, or we connect with it with our body when we get born. When we are born, sorry. And as you notice, I sometimes smile because this sense connecting with this presence gives this feeling of happiness, this feeling of contentment. It's just really like this, like a warm bath. And sometimes when it's amplified so much, when it's so intense, it feels like it's almost overwhelming. It's like it gets so much bigger than me, than my physical me. And the meditation practice definitely helps and is definitely important in the beginning. So I would advise you just to do this, to see this exercise as a meditation practice, 12 times a day at least. Because we need to practice this, just like learning how to bike. And another reason why the heart area and connected to your heart area is so important, because the heart, and I don't know the figures by heart, but the Heart Math Institute in the United States has measured many things about the heart. And a heart senses so much earlier than people can see with their eyes what is going to happen. So what they did, they showed pictures to participants, and random pictures, nice pictures, less nice pictures, emotional pictures, all differently. And they were measuring the reaction of the heart. And when a picture which was intense and emotion and would give emotional reaction, the heart would pick it up before the person even saw the picture. And already was the tension in the heart was already rising because of this nervousness, like this contraction. So we perceive the world and life most of the time with our eyes, and we think with our mind what we see is all there is. But there's so much more, because if the heart picks up so much more, because I don't know the figures again, but I will post it later. I will look it up. It senses before you even are aware of it, before you can even see it with the eyes. And that's where intuition comes from. We probably all have this experience, like I feel that something is wrong with the person you love, or a positive thing, you feel like, oh, something is going to happen, or you have a good feeling about something, like this really feels good. It's like my intuition is telling me this. And that's actually information that's received by the heart and sent to your mind, and gives information, words to your mind, so you can perceive it as a human in your language. And the other important thing of the heart is that it seems that the heart has a tiny space within. You can almost visualize the heart as the shape of a donut. So it has this oval shape, and in the middle there's a hole. And if you want to release blocked energy within your system, so all trauma that's stored within your system, or tension that you can feel, or contraction that you feel, or might even be feeling now, the heart can release this energy and change this energy into a different frequency. And it does that actually by it pulls just through this tiny hole, this tiny space, and then releases it. So you can just visualize it, just it goes in and just gets released on the outside, on the bottom. I don't know if exactly it goes that way, but it helps me to visualize it like that. And this process of releasing energy, blocked energy, is not by doing something as a human, but it's just actually holding space, just being there with an open heart. Don't think anything personal. It's just energy. There might be a story attached to it, but the story is not relevant, because the story is happening in the mind. This is just energy. And by just being completely open to it, it releases. And I could sense that this morning when I just went through my experience of last night, and the contraction I had around his nervousness, I could just sense how it got released. And it's not that I didn't have a little bit of nervousness when we started, but it was so much less, and it's gone now, actually. And you have a lot of these blocked energies in your system. And there are healers who work with this way of releasing. Juno Burger is one in Holland I've been to many times, and he was the one 7 years who gave me the experience of my first awakening through this system of healing, for releasing, as he calls it. And unfortunately, we're not all healed at once. I mean, most of the people are not healed at once. There are some examples in the world that are healed at once. They have this full-blown awakening and everything is healed. But most of people just do it in steps. And that's okay. So try to really connect with your heart. Might even help to talk to your heart. Just have a little conversation. Just ask questions like, how are you today? How does it feel today? Is there anything I need to know? And just keep silent. And see what happens. And for me, just by asking like, how are you today? I could just sense this openness. It's really funny. It just has this little space there, extra space. Like, and over the weeks or over these 99 days, if you're really dedicated to your practice, and please ask questions in the group if you're not sure about something, or if you want to share an experience with others. But you will notice that over the days and over the weeks, you will sense more details. And if your mind gets really activated, almost more activated than usual, then just let it be. It's okay. Meditation is not about no mind, at least for most of us. But it's like getting not attached to the stories of the mind. So it's like staying present in the moment, in your body, within this space of silence, as long as you can. But when a thought comes up, just let it pass. But just notice it. But don't react to it. That's the trick. And if you do get you kind of like lost in your thoughts again, and you're suddenly like, oh, where was I? Then just start all over again. Take a deep breath. And just enjoy the first moments of silence. I think I'm going to do this for 99 days with you. It feels amazing. Now I'm going to share some more with you. And the best thing I learned about the mind, and in the next days, I don't know when, of course, I will share some more about how the mind works. But the best thing about the mind is not to get irritated or agitated or stressed about the fact that you're so much in the mind. Yes, we are. I mean, we're raised that way. We haven't been taught to feel and to sense within. We've constantly been activating the mind and the mind and the mind and the mind all over again. I'm a big promoter of introducing meditation into a school system, because that's where we forget as little children. And children are still good at it, especially at the primary schools. They're still good at just playing and wandering off and just being their complete imaginary life. And that's also a form of meditation. And they just sense what comes up, and then they create their story, and there's no mind actively involved in the sense that it's creating a story of the past or a story of the future. It's just creating a nice story, like a fairy tale, or But our mind is either in the past or it's in the future. It's never in the now. Never ever. Okay. There's not much coming up to share, so I'm going to leave you with this. Today, ask you to see if you can integrate a practice in your daily life schedule. And don't try to make like, I need to make half an hour to do it, because then it becomes this heavy half an hour. And you get all excuses why you cannot do the half an hour. Just take 1 minute, 2 minutes at a time, but frequently. Set perhaps a reminder at your phone, or take certain moments during the day, like in the morning, lunch hour, coffee break. You can do it even with your eyes open. So you can do it when people are around. You can even do it in a meeting. They won't really notice. They can hardly, well, they probably think like, wow, he's relaxed today. Great. You can still listen. So play with it. Make it easy and light. And if you get frustrated, smile. Just take a, that's also something that helps. I forgot that one. It really helps to just have this smile on your face, but also have this like imaginary inner smile in your belly. The Buddha smile, they call it. You can just imagine your belly with just this big smiley face. That softens it. Okay, thank you all for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.